pretty. Come along. Hello, garden gals and guys. It's Steph with Tiny's Garden. Happy Monday. It's Monday, March 13th here, and we've got a lot to do today. Let's head to the greenhouse and start there. What is on deck today is I want to show you the progress in the greenhouse, and then I also need to sow a bunch of different things today. So we are in the greenhouse here in Zone 5B. I'm in the Chicago suburbs, and right now, let's look at the temperature in here. Right now we're sitting at a nice 61 degrees. You can see the low has been 41 in the lower left-hand corner there. It'd be great if that was what it was every day and every night, but I am still struggling trying to get the appropriate temperature in here. But for now, that is good, and I want to show you my progress. You can see some green. Let's take a look at the ranunculus, anemones, and sweet peas that are in here. First off, let's take a look at the sweet peas. Remember the tray that dropped? This was one of them. Dropped everywhere. I picked up as many seeds as I could and put them back in these two trays, and we've got growth. So I'm thrilled with that. Panning over, these have not dropped. That's why they look a little more uniform. We've got growth in there as well. And for those of you who didn't see that sweet pea video, I'll link that below. I started all of these sweet peas in these soil blocks in the greenhouse. And these temperatures have dipped into the 30s here, and they've been fine. Now these are far behind the ones inside. I'll show you those in a second. Oh yeah, sweet pea city. I need to get these moved out to the greenhouse and pinch them as well. But they're growing, so I can start them out here and I can get growth out of them, which is exciting to know. It's my first year starting them in the greenhouse in these temps. So that's a plus. If you've been following along here, you know that my ranunculus journey has been a bit of a journey trying to get it to pre-sprout and grow, but we do have some green, so let's see where we're at now. This is the first corner I potted up after pre-sprouting. And this one is not as far along as the ones on my right-handed side, which I'll show you in a second. But I'm still happy to see we do have some growth there. And let's look in one of these and see. Yeah, we've got growth down in there. It's just taking some time for some of them to come up. So that's a good thing. And on this side, we've got even more growth, which these are the ones I actually potted up after the ones I just showed you. So maybe these were a little farther along in the pre-sprouting process. I'm not sure, but we've got a lot of good looking green growth there. So that's exciting. Now I haven't grown ranunculus before, but I've got a little bit of a different coloring on the leaves, a little bit of white showing through on there. Let me know if that's normal, or if that's something I should be worried about, maybe water. There's what I'm talking about there. See that white on there? You veterans, let me know if maybe I'm watering too much. I'm not sure. I'm definitely going to let these dry out because they're still wet from a day or so ago. But other than that, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Just got to give them some more time. And these trays are where they were pre-sprouting, and I've still got some in there that are ready, but the anemones I have not done anything to, and I know we've got some growth on them. I've checked a few of them. You can see the little roots on the side there, and then of course the growth above. So those are coming along, taking a little longer than the ranunculus, but like I said, it has gotten pretty cold in here, so I'm okay with it. It's just a big experimental year with all of these. Here's an even better example. You can see all the white roots on that one, covered with soil, but all the way around, we're looking really good there, and growth on top. So they're coming along. I'm to the point now where I need to get a low tunnel up over some of my raised beds. I'm thinking 2 raised beds to get all of these moved out to by the end of this month, hopefully. Fingers crossed, because I think they'll be able to withstand the temperatures with a low row cover over them. As long as they don't breach 25 degrees, they should be fine. And I think with that protection, they would be. So that's on the works. Now I do need to make some soil blocks to start those seeds, and also I need to fill up a seed tray because I'm going to transfer some of my Lisianthus up because I think they're doing better with the ones that I transplanted earlier up because they've got more room than the little soil blocks. I was hoping I could keep them there the whole time, and there's one that looks pristine in the little soil block, but I think it's time I need to pot some up so that they can grow to their full potential. Okay, soil blocks first. For making my soil blocks, I use the Fort V potting mix from Vermont Compost Company. 3 parts of soil to 1 part water. Definitely want it to be more wet than that, so I'm going to add more water. Here's our consistency now, and you can see it's much more wet than for regular cell trays or regular seed starting. I've learned that with soil blocking this year. Almost the wetter the better. Now I simply hold on to the top of the metal part, go back and forth, swipe, and use the trowel to fill in any gaps and just make sure that it's solidly loaded. Solidly loaded? Yes. And then press down and back up. Voila! Voila! And then I'm using a regular Pro Mix with the moisture control in it. I'll put a picture on the screen to fill up the cell tray for the Lisianthus, and I'm just going to lightly moisten the soil. That tapping lets the soil settle, and then I can add a little more on top to the ones that have settled. That's looking pretty good right there. Okay, so cell tray for the Lisianthus to be potted up in, and my soil blocks. Let me take all this off, throw my hair up in a sloppy bun, and we'll get to it. Okay, let me take you over to my Lisianthus and show you the difference between the ones in the soil blocks and the ones that I transplanted up a few weeks ago. Okay, here are some that are in the soil blocks, and this one back here is my pride and joy. It looks awesome, but that's the best one I have in the small soil blocks. If we look at all of them, a lot of them are still pretty tiny. And over here, same story. And then bam, you can clearly see the difference of the ones that have been potted up. I mean, look at that. They're coming along much better. I'm also having some that are looking almost like leather. Their leaves have this different texture, like they're either drying up or getting too much water. I'm not sure what that's called, but I've got that on a few of them, where the texture of the leaves is different, almost softer, versus these, how they're nice and shiny and bright. Totally different. Comment below and let me know if you know what that is. So I'm just going to go through these, and I've got 25 cells in this tray, and I'm going to pop 25 that are looking pretty good up into this cell tray, because so far this method has worked pretty darn good. So first I'm just going to poke little holes in, because I'm going to let that soil block just drop right into that cell. I'm not doing soil blocks to transplant them up into because they're a little more difficult for me to water. Those trays get really heavy with those 2-inch soil blocks on them, and I don't have much space. So because it worked well in the other one, I'm just going to stick with the same method. I could definitely use 2-inch soil blocks and just pot them up that way as well. but for space and just the ease of watering, it's a little easier to water these. I simply am just bottom watering in the tray and then setting this back down in here. It's the Grow East Seed Starter Success System, I believe is what it's called, but I'm not using it how you usually use it. I'm just putting water in the tray and putting this right into it without the moisture wicking pads in it. So far it seems to work just fine. Okay, let's come down here and drop some Lisianthus into these blocks. So here you can see these are all roots. They're just air pruning, and I'm simply gonna try and be delicate and pull apart so all these roots belong to this soil block, this Lisianthus. Here I simply put the roots down into the hole with the block and then use the dirt surrounding it just to tuck it in a little bit. Pretty easy and simple. Yay, look at those roots. I love seeing the healthy roots. Now I'm not going to be potting every single one of these up into these trays. I have more on here than I can fit in here, but I just wanted to give a good portion of them a chance to grow even better because that's what I'm seeing with my experience so far. So I am going to keep the rest of these in here and keep them going and hope they grow all the way to fruition. I hear that's what you're supposed to be able to do anyways with some soil blocks. I've heard Lisa Mason Ziegler say that before and a couple other people, but I think it's probably my inexperience that is hindering them a little bit. So I've just noticed that potting them up so far is really working. And the Lisianthus Space group that I'm a part of, I'm seeing people with gorgeous, gorgeous Lisianthus, like honkin' big Lisianthus. And I think they're actually watering with hydrogen peroxide or something like that. But, oh, hats off to all of them. And if you're one of them, bravo. Anyway, I need to research it more, but a lot of those people have also potted up. So I think maybe it might be best if you can pot them up and just give them more room. But surely you could grow them all the way in this too. So I'm doing both. Moral of the story, I'm doing both. And here is my star child. Oh, look at how gorgeous. I wish they all would have done this good in the small soil blocks, but you are a star. This one's more of a little itty bitty baby. See it? But there's roots on there. Now the one thing that's a little bit of a nuisance is I'm mixing all these varieties up. They're going to be completely random in here and I'm not going to know which is which. I mean, I know from just starting them on the tray because they're labeled where, but once they go into here, I'm not like taking the time to label each individual one. So that's that, but I'm okay with it. I'd rather have a live Lisianthus that are thriving than knowing what every single one is variety-wise. Halfway there, halfway there. Now I'm just going to sprinkle these with cinnamon and then lightly brush them off so that cinnamon's not directly on the leaves. This will help with moisture control and algae. Let's take a closer look. So here we are, all transplanted in. So far, so good. Fingers crossed. They continue to grow to their full potential. Back under the lights they'll go, and then I'll water these later. And I'm going to stop there for today's video. The next video I do will be actually sowing in these soil blocks with larkspur and some cosmos. So stay tuned for that. But I think we're long enough for today and I need to eat some lunch. So we're going to stop it right there. But please comment below and let me know how your Lisianthus are doing. FYI, those are 8 weeks along. Those were sowed on January 15th. So that's where mine are right now at 8 weeks, just for your reference. But obviously you saw the ones in the trays look like they're more at 8 weeks than the others that look a little more behind. But really, they're growing and I'm thrilled with it. Lisianthus is not an easy flower to grow, and it takes forever, 6 months to a bloom. So we'll take it. We'll take it so far. Please like this video if you found it helpful or enjoyed it, and remember to subscribe to follow along with all things garden on my channel. We'll see you in the next one, everybody. Happy planting. Bye.